Food is something we all need to have. But just because it's a necessity doesn't mean that we don't make it an enjoyable experience. However, it seems that the term enjoyable might mean something different to different people around the world. Coming up are a number of meals that prove this. Let me know in the comments if you think you have what it takes to enjoy the foods coming up. Sanakji. Some of the food coming up might make you squirm. But what would you do if the food itself squirmed too? Yes, in Korea, a young octopus is wrapped around a chopstick or cut into small pieces and served immediately, raw and alive. Sanakji, or wriggling octopus, is considered a delicacy. Its flavor is supposed to be mild and very slimy and chewy, if you couldn't have guessed. But this food should come with a warning. There is a possibility that you can die by choking, since the tentacles and suction cups can make swallowing a difficult task. So if you would like to see if the octopus or your jaw would win in a fight, then feel free to try it. Tuna eyeballs. You might not see eye to eye with the Japanese for this one. Or should I say, eyeball to eyeball. Tuna eyeball, that is. You can usually find these cooked fleshy tennis ball sized eyeballs as appetizers or snacks at after-work pubs and casual restaurants in Japan. Since the eyeballs themselves are rather bland, chefs tend to lightly braise them in soy sauce or saute them with sesame oil and ginger. You might even get them in a cocktail known as tuna's tears, which is made with a beverage called soju and a raw tuna lens. So don't roll your eyes at them eyeballs the next time you're preparing a fish. Instead, make them a snack. Chilaquiles. If you're an early bird, then you can probably catch these worms, especially in the rainy season. Chilaquiles, or maguey worms, are a savory treat in Mexico found in the roots of maguey trees and agave plants. They're red, fleshy, high in protein, and can be consumed alive, deep-fried, or roasted inside tacos with guacamole. Because they're difficult to harvest and they have a high nutritional value, this delicacy is more on the expensive side, but they are said to be well worth the cost. They've even been sold on Amazon. Head cheese. Well, doesn't the name alone make you salivate? Head cheese is made from the flesh of a pig's head. I know, right? What, the pork? This European dish combines the meat with veggies and seasoning, and it's cooked for several hours until tender. The natural gelatin in the pig's skull helps the mixture to solidify, and then it can be sliced and served on a salad or sandwich. Hence the term cheese. Fried cow vagina. So if you didn't find the head of an animal appealing, then maybe this might sound more appetizing? A cow's vagina? No? How about when it's fried? Still no? Well, believe it or not, this seems to be an unusual part of the cow that people of all genders are still willing to eat. In China, they believe that it's very healthy and full of protein because it was used to birth a calf. I bet after the cow went through that ordeal, she didn't expect that her reproductive organ would become a meal though. Seriously people, you could at least shave the hair off. Or maybe that's for added texture? What do you think? Would you tuck in? Roasted pig eyes. It seems that no one's willing to let any part of the pig go to waste. Yep, even the pig's eyeballs are game for a snack. These eyeballs are roasted and served on a skewer in China. They're a bit tough to chew and swallow due to their gelatinous texture and have been described as having a strong taste. I'm still not sure how I feel about eating something that can look at you while you're eating it. Duck and rabbit head. Is it duck season or rabbit season? For this next meal, it seems like it's both. Sorry, Doc. In the past, meat was a rare and expensive treat, so people would make use of the whole animal, even the bits that were discarded by the wealthy class. But today in Beijing, there are restaurants that dedicate their menus to the preparation of rabbit and duck heads. The meat, predictably, tastes like the dark meat of chicken. There are even a few restaurants in New York that also offer a whole head experience. In one restaurant in Beijing, customers are shown a video demonstration of how to eat the fist-sized heads, and they're even given diagrams on each table. Wow, this restaurant is really ahead of the curve. Fried catfish eggs. The look of this next dish might startle you a bit. Don't say you weren't warned. Catfish eggs in their raw form are high in protein, have a strong flavor, and basically look like caviar. Fried catfish eggs, on the other hand, look like they're more at home floating in your toilet than on your dinner plate. This picture was posted by one woman on Facebook of her fried catfish egg meal, which attracted the attention of many people who thought the dish was creepy and even scary. To me, it looks exactly the same as the end result of a meal. Yum. Kai. In most parts of the world, guinea pigs are seen as cute pets, but in South America, they're just seen as kai, another animal bred specifically for meat. Kai became a specialty in places like Ecuador, Bolivia, and Peru because they were the main source of meat before cattle was introduced. Kai are cooked spread eagle on a spit. It's said that it tastes like a mix between pork and dark meat turkey, but it's higher in protein and lower in cholesterol than chicken, pork, or beef. Who would have thought that something this cute would have such great nutritional value? But let's face it, judging from this list, any kind of pig was doomed from the start. Ballot. Ducks seem to also be doomed from the start too, specifically from the embryo. Ballot is a partially developed fertilized duck embryo served with a little salt after being boiled. It's a popular street food found in the Philippines, Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. The fertilized eggs are cooked when the embryo is almost 3 weeks old, and the broth that surrounds it is sipped before the shell is peeled and the insides eaten. Apparently, a good ballot yolk has a soft texture not unlike cream cheese. It's said to be milder in flavor than a normal hard-boiled egg, if you can get over its strange, veiny texture. Fried tarantulas. I'm starting to think that people would eat anything once it's fried, including tarantulas evidently. Alive, they're vicious, hairy, and poisonous. But dead and deep fried? Delicious! They're a popular delicacy in Cambodia based on their history. During the 1970s, when the radical communist movement Khmer Rouge ruled Cambodia, people became so desperate from the poverty and hunger that they ate any creature they could find. Now, tourists come from far and wide to try this Cambodian treat, which cost only a few cents. Escamoles. Similar to chilaquiles, the ant larvae known as escamoles are harvested from the roots of the maguey and agave plants in Mexico. They look like white corn kernels or pine nuts and are usually found in tacos, omelets, or are served alone with guacamole and tortillas. They're tasty and memorable, and not as unattractive looking as their wormy roommates. They're actually a bit pricey since they're considered insect caviar, so you won't see anyone calling the exterminator for these ants. A kutuk. It's a hot day. You need something nice and cold, frozen even, to help you deal with the heat. So you sit down with a big bowl of yummy, whipped animal fat? Yep, a kutuk or Eskimo ice cream is a treat that Alaskans have enjoyed for many, many years. It's said to be creamy and cold like ice cream, except it's made from animal fats and oils mixed with berries and sometimes with fish. I know what you're thinking. Why hasn't Ben & Jerry's added this flavor yet? Surströmming. Your most adventurous meal might be right under your nose, but I wouldn't recommend you holding this next dish too close to it. Surströmming is a Swedish dish that is made of fermented Baltic herring, referred to as rotten fish, and its pungent aroma is said to activate the gag reflex in first-timers. It's said to taste like salty aged cheese. It's strongly recommended, almost as strong as the odor, to consume surströmming outside so that the smell doesn't seep into clothes and furniture. It's traditionally consumed in sandwiches and with condiments such as sour cream. Rocky Mountain oysters. The name of this meal doesn't sound half bad, but then you hear they're actually bull calf testicles and you might have second thoughts. So then why are they called oysters? Because they have a slimy appearance when raw. The testicles are peeled, flattened, and often deep fried and actually look much yummier than what you might think. They're very popular in US states like Colorado and Montana, and even in Canada. They're very rich in vitamins, minerals, and protein. Some say they taste like venison, while others say calamari. So if you ever feel ballsy enough, you should try them. Shirako. So staying in that general area, let's look at another peculiar dish, this time from Japan. Shirako. No, it's not mayonnaise, but actually fish semen, which is also called milt. The milt of fish has a custard-like texture when cooked and is sometimes served on rice or fried in tempura batter. The latter recommended if you're trying it for the first time. Shirako is harvested by hand from the genitals of a dead fish. Just when you thought you had the worst job going, think again. It has a mild sea-like taste and is best described as runny cream cheese. Yak penis. And hey, we seem to still be in the same area. The name isn't as cryptic as the aforementioned ones, but the Chinese dish called yak's penis is, you guessed it, the penis of a yak. Yuck? No, a yak. The meat is typically dipped in soy sauce or hot sauce, also called the dragon in the flame or desire. This specialty meal is said to help clear women's skin and to treat impotency in men, which sounds pretty ironic if you ask me. Apparently it hasn't got much flavor, as the experience is all about the texture. A chewy, rubbery, slightly sinewy meat that tastes a lot like fat. Did that sell it to you? Fruit bat soup. This meal that is enjoyed in Guam and Palau is not for the faint at heart. Imagine ordering the soup of the day and being greeted by a full-on furry bat with its eyes, wings, and everything else completely intact and floating around with your vegetables. Unless you're Ozzy Osbourne, you'll be wondering what bats taste like. Apparently, they're a cross between pigeon and dog or goose. Quite hard to imagine really, considering most of us don't eat dog. I'm not quite sure who thought that bats would be the most ideal meat to add to a soup, given that these bats can cause serious neurological diseases in humans. But as the other foods have proven, us humans will eat anything. They're cooked with ginger or coconut milk, but that doesn't make the abundant parasites and bacteria the bats contain any less harmful. Eat at your own risk. So what do you think? Feeling adventurous enough to try any meal from this list? And what is the weirdest meal you've ever eaten? Let me know in the comments section down below. Thanks for watching.